Today, please enjoy your time here, and because this institute that you're in right now is, in my opinion, fantastic. Virginia Tech is great. I just moved here only 6 months or so ago, and really enjoying it. So hopefully you'll think about coming to work here. At least all the ones of you. You're all smart. Okay, you're all smart. So before we get started, though, just turn right around. You'll see some people that you don't recognize, and that's the people in my group working here somewhere. People way back. Okay, so these are undergraduates, so graduates, high school students, and there's an esteemed professor back there, right back there, who's working on this topic. Now, all of you have probably heard about, the P word, right? Plagiarism? Okay. Ooh, yeah, a whole other word, another letter word you got to worry about. Okay, so we're going to be talking about that today. And I'm going to tell you about two things today. I'm going to tell you about this code, ETblast, which is electronic text blast. It's a similarity code, searching code, and about this database. Let me just start by kind of introducing this topic to you. You probably have been instructed about plagiarism and how to write papers and things like that, haven't you? In school? Yeah. And so, really, the kinds of things that we have taught as faculty members, have taught our students about how you can properly use the reference material when you're writing a paper. There are just a few rules. They're not really complicated rules, but one of them that says any time that you use text or figures or tables from any books or manuscripts or web pages now, they have to, if they're used in whole or paraphrased, they need to, they need to be cited in some kind of an obvious way. And if you use this material exactly, they should be put together, should be put in quotes, right? It says, these are not my words at all, okay? And the other thing that you should be aware of is the fact that there are various agreements, some of which are legally bound. Ethics is something that has to do really with our understanding how society should work and things like this, but there's legal implications to these rules as well. Copyright is something you'd be sued over if you use material, and it could result in a variety of things like getting a ticket. And so the idea is that a lot of journals have copyrighted their material, and if you start to use any of that, they have rules on how much you can use. Okay, for example, if you use any figure or text, or any amount of typically 250 words or more, you have to cite it properly. This is something you may not know. And the other thing you know is these are no absolute standards in this. This is just some suggestions. And so, and many of the students have been exposed to this. You have, now that you know what the P word is, at universities and high schools, but this is something that also applies to professionals. And I'm going to tell you today, not about high school kids or college kids or other people who've been caught by things like Turnitin. Has anybody ever been caught by Turnitin? Okay, good. This is a good group. Okay. And so this is a code that the high schools and universities use. But we're going to tell you today about not people doing things like that, but actually things that when they write scientific papers. And these are things that other scientists and clinicians and various people use in order to do the best job they can. So it has a wider impact than simply getting a grade. That's what I would like to tell you about today. And so, first of all, let's talk a little bit about scientists and how scientists think and how they're motivated. And so, there's scientists are humans too, okay? And so, if you think about it, in society, there's people who are always on the other side or on the other side of the norm. Okay, how many people here drive? All right. Can any of you people who drive promise, raise your hand if you've never exceeded the speed limit? Wait, 1, 2, 3. Okay, how many of you actually really tell the truth? No, you've never seen the speed limit. So that's good. 3 is not bad, but by far the majority just admitted to going over the line, right? And so once you've done it, it kind of gets easier and easier. So scientists are humans too, and indeed they may have exceeded the publication speed limit, all right? And by doing various unethical or questionably ethical things, and that's what I'm going to tell you about today. And there's reasons why they may want to do this. The reason why you drove over 55 is because you're bored when you're doing 54, and because you need to get somewhere fast, you're going to get, something like that. So there's a whole bunch of reasons, some of which work and don't work, okay? So scientists may want to do things like plagiarize papers or publish things over and over again for a variety of reasons, including there are peer pressures and funding pressures by the people who hire us and keep us around that says you have to publish, you have to get grants. And so you have a kind of an incentive to try and do better than you maybe have the resources to do. There might be inadequate, people watching over what you're doing, wrong kinds of arrangements, and also things like the increasing scale and complexity of science. Nowadays, science is very expensive. It takes some huge resources and things to do things like sequence the human genome or the dog genome or something like that. And so, as a consequence, it's so complex, it's very hard to monitor and maintain everything's going on, all of which contribute to sliding over that line. Okay, and so the other thing is, as I just told you in the question about 55 miles an hour, is that this misconduct in science may be just a broader expression of scientists as humans as general, not just because they're scientists that are corrupt, they're just happen to be humans that are kind of crossed the line. So, here's the data, all right? There was a survey done a couple of years ago by this guy, and what he did is he sent a survey out to 8,000 funded researchers in the medical area. So there's 8,000 researchers that have big giant grants, or $1 million grants or so, from the National Institutes of Health. And he got 3,000 responses back from this anonymous survey. And this is what all the people revealed that they had done, okay? So 0.3% said they'd faked research data. 1.4% said they'd plagiarized papers before. 5% said that they'd published the same paper over and over and over again. Well, that helps make your resume thicker, but does it really enrich our knowledge of science? Probably not. 6% said they've removed data that doesn't seem to fit their hypothesis. Others have included authors on the paper that are not appropriate, maybe people who funded the project as opposed to work on the science. Some have changed the study design. This is particularly a problem in doing things like clinical trials when you have to keep the design very consistent. And others are, say, they've 30% approximately said that they didn't keep adequate records. Okay, we might all question that. We have a laboratory notebook. Well, did we remember to write this down or not? So this is an important thing. Well, in this talk, there's going to be a couple things that we can computationally help add value to these numbers right here, and that's what I'm going to tell you about today. And of course, along that line, we end up finding a few other things like faking research and inappropriate authors and stuff like that came out of this study as well. So, why are we doing this? In my laboratory here, I work on a bunch of different things, stuff that has to do with sequencing humans to find new breast cancer and lung cancer markers and opportunities to generate new therapies for those things, drug discovery, and also I work on things that involve text mining and text searching, and of course this has all led to the study in ethics that I'm telling you about today. So we've created a variety of different codes that are available on the web, okay, and these address certain issues about genes and things like that, to look for things like that help researchers conduct their research in areas of cancer, biodefense, and things like that. And we make all these available on the web. And as a consequence, we have about 40,000 or so people who come per month and actually use these codes. Okay?